Ah, boy. Boy, oh boy. Okay, guys. Now, this video, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I just wanted to share some of my thoughts going on right now, currently, regarding Fire Emblem Heroes. So, this might sound really negative. I'm sure people are gonna be, like, up in arms. They're gonna call me out in the comments. They're gonna be like, oh, look at this bitch whining. What a crybaby, all of that. Yeah, sure, okay, go right ahead. I welcome it. But what I just wanted to say right now is that morale for me is at an all-time low for the game. Like, I just have very little motivation to make videos. I'm still playing the game regularly. I still do dailies, and I will be playing the game up until end of service, pretty much. Like, nothing is going to make me quit. They can't do anything that would just make me stop playing the game. But as far as YouTube is concerned, I like making videos because, to me, it's fun to make videos, right? Like, it's just fun playing a fun game and recording it so I have it on camera, which I wish I had been doing when I was playing Pokemon way back in the day. But basically, morale is at an all-time low, and I'm going to explain some of the reasons why that is. Okay, why don't we start over here? So, this is... Oblivion has done this before, where he's gathered around all of the Fatesubers, and they will get together and play something like Among Us, or earlier we were doing like kind of rival bromains, but not really, since Speedy Hawk stopped doing rival bromains. It was like a different take on rival bromains with Oblivion and some currently running Fatesube channels. So the point of it is to just like get this co-op sensation. We've wanted co-op in Fire Emblem Heroes for a long time. We did actually end up getting something like it, or their take on it, which we'll talk about, but I find this hilarious that we're getting all of these wonderful Fatesubers together to play a completely different game, right? We're not playing Fae, we're playing Among Us, because it's going to be more fun, exciting, and engaging for the viewers. I just find that downright funny. Like, we have to stoop to this level to play literally a different game instead of playing Fae in order to engage our audience. Like, that's already not a good sign. But definitely watch this video. Stick around for the live stream for these guys, because this is going to be a blast, I promise. Okay, so United Warfront. Me and Oblivion actually did a podcast session talking about this and like all the ways they can improve it, all the things they got right, all the things they got wrong. This was, like, mind you, a week ago, right? When the mode was actually running. So that already shows, like, lack of morale on my part, that I didn't even have the consciousness in me to edit that video together and upload it to YouTube, which I'll probably do that tomorrow or something. But yeah, so like United Warfront, we were waiting on this mode. We wanted this to be like a fun co-op to breathe some fresh life into the game. As we all know, PvE is what people are more interested in when it comes to Fire Emblem, of course. It's a strategy game. It's not a PvP game. It's not a competitive game. It was never meant to be that. And yet, for some reason, Insys thinks that's what people want when it comes to Fire Emblem. They have been, like, hard-pressing competitive modes, and this is really not the game for that. I don't know why they think that's what we want. I can understand in, like, something like Pokemon, where it's literally a chess match, right? Like, you can build whatever you want. It's all free. You go on Pokemon Showdown, there's actually an outlet where you can do battle with other players around the world at any time you want on a custom server with all the game mechanics. You're free to build whatever you want. You don't have to spend a cent to do it, and you can just play to your heart's content. You can't really do that in Fae. Like, if I wanted to build the team that I want, I'd be down, like, what, $50,000 or something to, like, actually give all the characters in my barracks all the skills I want on them, and also just get, like, merges and get access to all the characters that I don't have. It's ridiculous, right? Like, this is not really a game intended for competitive play. So, United Warfront was what we thought was going to be the saving grace. It was the co-op that we all desperately wanted, but unfortunately, it's just another run-of-the-mill PvE mode. It's not bad. I think they actually got a good foundation going with this mode, because the idea isn't too off. So we're running through a tower. I wanted, like, a full tower with, like, the monster enemies from Echoes and Sacred Stones, like the skeleton guys and the Cerberus dogs and the Cyclopses and the Medusa heads. Like, all of those, like, cool monster enemies. me being a big Castlevania fan, I would have loved to have a mode in Fae where we're fighting against them, and we're like climbing up a tower in co-op setting, and the higher you get, the more rewards you can get. I wanted something like that. Unfortunately, this mode was not that. It's a one and done, so you only get the rewards once. Like, these are the rewards you get from clearing all of the difficulties, and obviously it's not bad. The orbs are going to be what people want the most, and that's the easiest to get on hard mode. But then if you go for Infernal, you get some feathers, which, I mean, what's even the point of feathers anymore? You're building units that have no value to you whatsoever. You're just building them because you like them, pretty much. So, yeah, like this, it's a good idea. I think they needed more stages. I think 5 is, like, a little too low. They should have went up to 7 at least, because that's how much Arena Assault does. And this is basically just Arena Assault, except you're fighting against the Legendary and Mythic Hero maps instead of against enemy teams that are built for, like, specific competitive play. But I think this is better, because also there's reinforcements you got to worry about, and the enemies could have up-tuned stats if they wanted to really go hard on this and give them, like, Abyssal level stats. But unfortunately, there is no Abyssal mode in here, so we're just fighting a bunch of mooks that may have good skills, but their stats are really not competing with our own units. So, yeah, like, this, it needed to be harder. That's my main complaint. It needed to be harder. Maybe it needed to be a little bit longer, and I needed more rewards that just refresh every time you play it, so there would be an incentive to keep on playing past the first try, as opposed to just do one run and then leave it alone. Also, they could have, like, a good thing about this having endless rewards would have been good for new players, and it would have incentivized more people to come into the game, because they would actually have an outlet to grind all these materials that they need for building up an account, like feathers and flowers and stuff like that. But unfortunately, no. That's not what this is. It's not even really co-op either. It's just choose a friend's setup team, and then if you want to use those units, you can, but you can just go ahead and mix in your own units if you want instead. So yeah, the groundwork on this was good, but needs a little bit more work. Okay, then let's go ahead and talk about this now. So the two recent banners that we've gotten here, this is a little bit of a disappointment too for a lot of people. More so, I would say, on the Echoes banner, where we had Mycin and then 3 characters that were not added to the standard pool. Those being, of course, the 2 fairy dancers and then also the rearmed Sonia. And Sonia, of course, also being another Echoes character that we already had in the game. So Mycin was literally like the only new character introduced on that banner. So people were very upset about that. But burnout is a serious thing here. There's so many characters in Fire Emblem, and there's so many characters that people still want. Like, the Dawn Brigade was a solid choice for a banner, but we're missing a lot of people here. We're still missing Nolan, who a lot of people wanted, and they teased us with his accessory in the game. He has a piece of paper with his face on it. There were also, like, Laura people could have wanted. Devdan and Danved, they could have added that guy. He's pretty funny. So, there's a lot of characters that they could have added from the Dawn Brigade that they just didn't. They gave us Edward and Leonardo, which is fine, but then Micaiah and Soth again. Yes, they are leaders of the Dawn Brigade, but these two are not going to be added to the regular pool after this banner. So this might as well just be a halfway seasonal banner, right? Like, what's the big deal here? I don't know, man. I just wanted some more fresh faces into the game, and we're just getting the same old all the time, pretty much. Then we have this banner over here. So even the seasonal banners, even the OCs are getting the same treatment, because who do we have here? Gulveig, Seder, and Nerthuz. All 3 of these characters we've had quite a lot of runs of so far, even though they're very recent. They were in the last book, Book 7. But we're getting a lot of banners about them with very little in-between cooldown time. So people are very upset about that. I personally don't really care about this too much. More so, I care about it for the regular characters, not the OCs. Like, the OCs or whatever, like, more screen time for them, I would say, is good, because, of course, Fae is the only game where we have any exposure to them. But the mainline characters are the ones that I'm really intrigued by, and I would like to see more Forging Bonds dialogues and, like, more Tempest Trial dialogues with them, so we can, like, actually see more of their personalities shine through. But it's hard to do that when you're just getting Micaiah and Soth on every Radiant Dawn banner. And there's just like... Where are the other characters? Where is Diginsia? We don't have a base Diginsia yet, which is insane to me. We don't have, who else is there? Janaf and Ulki, who are amazing characters in Path of Radiance that are very good to use, but we don't have them. We don't have Volug. This is so many. Like, so many Laguz characters we don't have. Volug would be very popular. Also, Kurth Naga, for me, that would be a huge one. We don't have him as a base character. We have his Halloween alt, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, and then there's also the characters that haven't been added, like Stefan would be amazing to get. Soan would be amazing to get, because we don't really know anything about Soan, other than the one cutscene he's in with Altina. And we still got Altina somehow, right? So, like, why can't we get Soan? I don't understand. They had the same level of clout prior to Faye coming out. So, yeah, there you guys go with that. That's my take on the characters that they've been introducing. Of course, we could talk about power creep a little bit as well. I mean, you look at this Micaiah. What doesn't she do? Like, it would be faster for me to talk about things she does not do than to talk about the things that she does do. So we have Omni Guidance 4 here. -1 special trigger, double type effectiveness. We have essentially odd and even recovery built in here, where she's healing all your allies in 2 spaces by 10 HP, then also removing 2 penalties on them, which is like essentially odd and even recovery. Then on top of that, she does a monster amount of debuffs, and then on top of that, she has like all this other shit going on. She's got all these debuffs similar to the Duo Micaiah, which is really crazy. She does exposure and discord, and then -7 on everybody, while having an insane amount of damage reduction, piercing, and like true damage and all that nonsense. She's also an attuned hero, so you can give her whatever you want for skill duplication. She has a really good echo skill as well. So, yeah, do I need to talk about power creep? You guys get it. I think that's like a topic beaten to death already. Okay, then we have this, right? So, obviously, builds are a huge deal for people in Fire Emblem Heroes. Everyone wants to build their favorite characters, and they're always asking, oh, what skills should I put on my unit, right? Well, here you go. This is it. This is the build. This is the one and only build you need to know right now. Godlike Reflexes, Distant Bonus Doubler, Laguz Friend, Breath of Life 4. That's it. Like, this build will work on everything. Not just melee, mages as well, because they thought Laguz Friend should work for mages. Now, of course, on them, you would want Close Bonus Doubler as opposed to Distant Bonus Doubler. But the idea is essentially the same. If your weapon does not have -1 special trigger, then you go for the Marth Ring. If your weapon does have -1 special trigger, then you go for the Ike Ring. That's pretty much it. And this is all you need to know about the game right now, for the most part. Like, this is just... I guess Breath of Life 4 doesn't necessarily need to even be on the unit. You're free to run something else, because Breath of Life 4, for God knows what, is also a support skill, which gives the full benefit of the actual, like, in-combat effect to a support partner that's in 2 spaces. Instead of, like, maybe cutting that in half, or maybe not doing that, maybe let's not allow allies in 2 spaces to get the full effect of this. They're like, nah, screw it, let's just give them the full effect, why not, who cares? So, yeah, there you go with that. So, builds are also very stagnant and very stale right now. There's not really much variety, at least for infantry right now, this is it. And then I guess cavalry as well would be the same thing. You just run like Flared Sparrow, you run... They may have more build variety in the beast skill, because they can go for either Assassin Strike or Occult Strike. Those are 2 really good skills, but there's also other options as well. They could go for like the level 4 Traces, which are pretty good, and so on and so forth. And then for the C skill, again, they have a lot of options. They could go for Incited, they could go for Alarm, so Cavalry actually has a little bit more variety. Save armors are pretty stagnant as well. They just want a save skill. They just want maybe like a fire, like a boost skill, level gold border boost skill, so on and so forth. So, and then for their special, they'll go for Armored Blaze, or what's the other one? Armored Flow or Armored Blaze, and then they run the Ike Ring if they're going to be a save tag. Or you go for, what's it again? Hardy Fighter, and then you go for like Pavis or Aegis, and then Ike Ring, pretty much. So, yeah. Like, builds are very stagnant, because they're making the passives way too good right now. Okay, here, I just wanted to, like, quickly take a look. Let's see what people are saying about the game. All right, so fan art, okay. Again, fan art. It's nice to see Olivia getting some love, though, because she was very popular, and they haven't really done too much with her outside of, like, year 1 and year 2. So that was cool to get her on the banner. Okay, more fan art. Hooters Lucina. You know, I've always wondered why there's so much fan art of Hooters Lucina. Like, why? Like, I thought the point of Hooters was to have some pretty big Hooters, right? Like, that does not suit Lucina at all. She is the flat chest, like, flat as a board girl. She ain't the pa-pow like Camilla or someone, right? Like, why isn't it Hooters Camilla? Why is it always Hooters Lucina? Let me know in the comments if you know why that is. Or maybe it's just like a play on, like, straying away from the norm. Like, okay, so we get it that Hooters is supposed to be about big Hooters, but why don't we draw a girl who doesn't have big Hooters working at Hooters? How about that? Maybe that's the idea. A returning player need help. Oh god, you do need help if that's what you've got. This poor man. Yeah, okay, he's got Gulveg at least, the mythic Gulveg, who is also basically just this unit again. So that's another thing too. A lot of these alts are just like the same exact unit again. So like Gulveg is the same as mythic Gulveg except red, and then with a duo button. And then this Nerthuz is basically just the New Year Nerthuz again as well, except now with a support skill where she's given freaking special spiral light and then also damage reduction pierce. Like, just an insane support effect there. Harid was pretty awesome, though. Like, this guy's very interesting, so I'm glad they gave us him. But, yeah, and then Olivia. They could have gave Olivia the Peony, or the Mirabilis treatment from the Spring Banner, where she had this really good, unique dance skill that allowed her to be very relevant. They just gave her regular dance. Like, come on, man. Can we stop shafting demotes at this point? Like, especially seasonal demotes that are not always going to be around. Like, I feel like they can get an exception, right? Like, the seasonal demotes at least should be worthwhile. Alright, anything else in here? Okay, more fan art. Pretty much, yeah, like, that's it. Like, it's all just fan art, basically. And then people who want help. Like, this guy wants help over here. And then this guy down here wants help as well. He wants help on his build. And for a unit like this, it's going to be... Like, this build that he's got here, this should work pretty fine. Maybe instead of Desperation 4, you want, like, Tempo 4 or Fizzle Follow-Up or something like that. Yeah, like, something like this, I would say, would work out. Just, like, combine this build with this build, I would say, and then you've got something going for him. So, yeah. Alright, there we go there. And then, Game Facts. When all doubt is... Or when all is in doubt, you go to Game Facts. Oh, wow, look at that. What a perfect topic for what we're doing here. No trolling, serious question. How do people even enjoy this game anymore? With every unit and every skill being this absurdly wordy. Yeah, and this is, mind you, this is a unit from several months ago. This is Christmas Yunaka. So, we've had, what, 6+ months of this? And she's not even, like, that insane anymore. She's got Kanto Distant, which is still good, but her damage has fallen off a cliff. Given the state of the meta right now. So, like, when she came out, of course, she was lapping the game by, like, 10 miles over. And now, not even a year after her release, she's already been tossed to the wayside. Alright, he's got some more examples here. Let's see here. Okay, so we have... I'm guessing this is... Who is this? Oh, this is Lagu's friend. And then we have over here... Yeah, some passives. This one... Whose weapon is this? This is not in English. This is in Spanish, I think. So, hard to really say whose weapon this is. Someone with Kanto 2, I would guess. Alright, yeah, but basically, the gist of it is, you guys get what I'm saying here. Alright, play for favoritism, stop worrying about the meta or competitive modes. This, I mean, everyone always says this, but then what do you have left to do in the game when every mode that they shoehorn is PvP and competitive? There's no real good PvE content. Abyssal modes are a complete joke. So, what are you delegated to? Just like Hall of Forms and Seer Snare? Those are the only 2 modes you can enjoy, which are not always around. Those are like once a month, pretty much. Like, this argument always gets on my nerves. Because in other modes, in other games, I would understand this. Like, this makes sense. But not in Fae, where this is literally all you have to do. Alright, I care only for my faves. Play for the sexy dudes, which... I'm sorry to say, Tight Knots, we rarely get them. We did get Harid, though, on the Summer Banner, which was nice. It's just an orb clicker sim at this point. Stopped understanding what was going on in battles like 3 years ago. Yeah, like I can understand a lot of people probably play the game. They don't even read the kits on the units. They just summon for who they like, and then they just, as they're fighting, they'll be like, oh, you can do this. Okay, awesome. Right? Like, no one's memorizing all that shit unless you're like me and you love to torture yourself. Stockholm Syndrome, okay. There's no real Fire Emblem game to play. This is another issue, not necessarily with Faye, but just with the IP. It's that we rarely ever get Fire Emblem game releases, so like when we finally do, like with Engage, and then it's not necessarily a game that can sustain itself like Three Houses was. Like Three Houses, you would play the game, you would beat it, and then if you didn't want to do the other runs, like you could do several different routes in Three Houses if you wanted to. But even if you didn't want to, you could just take up arms on Twitter and start a big debate, like, oh, which route is correct? Like Edelgard's route, Dimitri's route, Claude's route, like which lord, which three-house leader is actually in the right. Like there's so much discussion, so much topic for debate about that game that actually allowed it to outlive its own lifespan. Whereas Engage does not have that. It's just all about the gameplay, so once you beat the game, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, I mean, more so in line with past Fire Emblem games, right? Like, you would beat the game and that would be it. Like, there wouldn't really be much else to do or say about it. So, yeah. Our SNES games haven't been remade yet, which hopefully FE4 remake is coming up. Nostalgia for the games I've played. So this guy, he's just playing because he loves Fire Emblem is what I'm getting here. Like, there's no mainline game to play right now, so he's just playing Faye because there's nothing else to do. Alright, the simplest idiot way is to just pick Flavor of the Month meta units. You don't need to read the skill sets. Yeah, like I said earlier, too, this is also a thing. Like you know, Emblem Ike currently destroys 99% of the roster, and what was their way of dealing with Ike? As opposed to Fallen Edelgard, which every banner after she came out, we had a counter for her. What do they do with Fallen Ike? They give him a skill that literally just buffs him and stops, like, all of his checks. Real smooth move there, Insys. Like, let's take the best character in the game and then also give him a skill that beats all of his weaknesses. Like, there you go. Alright, so yeah, that's gonna wrap us up for this video, guys. Kind of a sour note, I guess, but, I mean, like I said, videos have been very slow lately because morale is at an all-time low. I'm very disinterested in what they have to offer in the game right now, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think I'm just being a whiny crybaby, or do you think what I'm saying actually holds some merit? I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. So take care, and definitely give the homie a like and a sub, and check out his live stream later with Among Us, because I'm sure this is going to be a much more fun time than playing Faye.